The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. I can better trust those who have helped to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition and ignorance on the other. But my later experience has taught me two lessons: first, that things are seen plainer after the events have occurred; second, that the most confident critics are generally those who know the least about the matter criticized. In every battle there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten. Then he who continues the attack wins. The art of war is simple enough. Find out where your enemy is. Get at him as soon as you can. Strike him as hard as you can, and keep moving on. I have never advocated war except as means of peace, so seek peace, but prepare for war. Because war never changes. War is like winter and winter is coming. The great bulk of the legal voters of the South were men who owned no slaves, their homes were generally in the hills and poor country, their facilities for educating their children, even up to the point of reading and writing, were very limited, their interest in the contest was very meager. What there was, if they had been capable of seeing it, was with the North. They too needed emancipation. Under the old regime they were looked down upon by those who controlled all the affairs in the interest of slave owners, as poor white trash who were allowed the ballot so long as they cast it according to direction. There are but few important events in the affairs of men brought about by their own choice. I know only two tunes. One of them is Yankee Doodle, the other isn't. I propose to fight it out on this line if it takes all summer. Leave the matter of religion to the family altar, the church and the private school supported entirely by private contributions. Keep the church and state forever separate. The cause of the Great War of the Rebellion against the United States will have to be attributed to slavery. For some years before the war began it was a trite saying among some politicians that a state half slave and half free cannot exist. All must become slave or all free, or the state will go down. I took no part myself in any such view of the case at the time, but since the war is over, reviewing the whole question, I have come to the conclusion that the saying is quite true. I have never advocated war except as a means of peace. The natural disposition of most people is to clothe a commander of a large army whom they do not know, with almost superhuman abilities. A large part of the National Army, for instance, and most of the press of the country, clothed General Lee with just such qualities, but I had known him personally, and knew that he was mortal, and it was just as well that I felt this. There never was a time when, in my opinion, some way could not be found to prevent the drawing of the sword. The distant rear of an army engaged in battle is not the best place from which to judge correctly what is going on in front. The darkest day of my life was the day I heard of Lincoln's assassination. I did not know what it meant. Here was the rebellion put down in the field, and starting up in the gutters, no other terms than unconditional and immediate surrender. I propose to move immediately upon your works. As time passes, people, even of the South, will begin to wonder how it was possible that their ancestors ever fought for or justified institutions which acknowledged the right of property in man. The great bulk of the legal voters of the South were men who owned no slaves, their homes were generally in the hills and poor country, their facilities for educating their children, even up to the point of reading and writing, were very limited, their interest in the contest was very meager. What there was, if they had been capable of seeing it, was with the North. They too needed emancipation.